couple of years ago, before I became a somatic therapist, burnout broke my body. Before it happened, I wasn't anxious and I wasn't struggling mentally. I was just doing too much for too long, and my nervous system went into survival mode and stayed there. A lot of things happened, but a lot of things changed when I started regulating it. When I started using the techniques. At its worst, I started having seizures. Not epileptic, but functional. My body would just shut down, full loss of control, multiple times a week. It was terrifying and always required medical intervention. But since I started regulating my nervous system, they're rare. They never really happen, and when they do start to happen, I can take control of them and stop them before they start. Another thing that started happening in my burnout was that I had really bad driving anxiety. I would panic every single time I got in the car, and I would have to always do deep breathing. I'd have anxious thoughts. I'd say, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. But now, my driving anxiety is completely gone. It's like I never had it. I just get in the car and I go. And if something's stressful, if the parking's hard, or maybe someone does something they shouldn't in front of me, or I make a mistake, I just take a deep breath and I keep going. Like most people in burnout or people who are stressed, I couldn't sleep. I either couldn't fall asleep or I couldn't stay awake. And even when I did sleep, I never felt completely rested. But now I regulate my nervous system. I sleep at normal times and I sleep through the night and I actually feel rested. I have chronic pain and have had chronic pain since I was 13. I actually have a condition called complex regional pain syndrome. And the best thing I found for managing that condition, not curing, but managing, is somatic therapy. I've reduced my pain and I've just learned how to manage it and how to weather it when I'm in pain. When I have flare-ups, they're not gone and they're not better, but my mentality around them is so much healthier, so much easier to manage, and I have tools in my toolbox when I need them. I finally understand what they mean when they say like mindfulness, which is such a useless phrase to say to someone, especially in chronic pain. But through somatic therapy, I really have found tools that work, and I really have found kind of a better meaning around it. And like I say, I've changed my mindset around my condition completely. I feel like almost a new person using these tools. Another thing that I found hard was that my patience with my daughter was a lot shorter than I would like it to be. There was a lot of snapping and I'd feel like the worst mum in the world, having all this guilt. But now I don't feel so overwhelmed and I don't feel so triggered when things come up. I've learned that pausing and taking a deep breath really helps me not react in the moment. And then I have all these mindsets now that help me. So I think like, she's only little, she doesn't know what she's doing, or I'm the adult, or I'm the captain of this ship. It's my responsibility to take control here, not enter into these battles. And when she is having big meltdowns, it doesn't feel like danger to me anymore. It doesn't feel like a threat. So I'm actually able to meet it with that calmness and that kind of safety that I would like to. Now, I'm not saying I don't react and I don't feel triggered. Kids are kids and they do trigger you. But I can definitely react and take control of myself in a way that I feel proud of rather than a way I feel guilty of. Before I started regulating my nervous system, I found touching things weird. So different textures would set me off and I'd feel very like, I don't want to touch that, or I don't like the idea of touching bugs. And I love nature. I'm one of the biggest hippies I think you'll ever meet. But for some reason, when I was feeling stressed and in burnout, I didn't like touching things. I couldn't touch tree bark. I couldn't touch bugs. It was really, really difficult. Like even the idea of getting dirt on my hand would make me feel strange. But now that I regulate my nervous system, I can absolutely touch anything and get into things, and it doesn't make me feel that same kind of weirdness in my own skin. It was only the other day we ended up having an experience where we could hold snakes and stroke a cockroach, which I still don't think we should or recommend. But I could do it without feeling that fear and without feeling like I was crawling out of my own skin. And that to me was a really big reminder of how much your body sees danger, maybe where it shouldn't, when you're on high alert. And it felt so good to be able to just do it and not have to kind of override my own kind of feelings around it. And that felt so good. And something that I found amazing recently is I did get ill and I had to go to hospital. I was in a huge amount of pain and I was relying on my techniques and especially my breath work, and it changed my blood results. Like, there were things in my blood where the doctors were saying, yeah, that's because you're doing deep breathing, that's because you're doing breath work. You've managed to change the alchemy of your blood to make yourself kind of calmer. And my resting heart rate was really low compared to what they would consider the average person. And for someone who does breath work, who does somatic therapy, I didn't know you could measure those things in your blood and in your body in that way. So that was really eye-opening, that I had the power to literally change the components of my blood and change my health and kind of take control of it a little bit more. And that felt really good to be able to do that. Very interesting. It was, super, super interesting for me. And you little pumpkin, stop jumping at the window. You need to calm your nervous system down. It was very interesting to see the results and physical proof that my body left that constant stress mode and that even in stress, I could take control. Now, I'm not fixed. I still have hard days. I'm still human, but I'm not stuck in survival mode anymore. And when I learn to regulate my nervous system through breath, through movement, through actual rest, as much as it still annoys me to have to rest, actually resting, my body remembered how to function. And honestly, my whole life changed, and for the better. So if your body is breaking down and you don't know why, it might be your nervous system stuck in survival. Mine was, but it can change, and you can take control.